Hey everybody, this is Nathan Graham over at RPR, welcoming you to another video in the Data Dig series where we take a look at the various tools and reports in RPR and show you how to extract as much information about the properties and communities that y'all work with. So today's video, we're going to focus in on said reports. So on the commercial side, there are really three core reports with kind of a bonus, I guess you could say, when you utilize our investment analysis tool, Valuate. But my goal for us today is to really just walk through each of those reports and kind of talk about the information you're able to find and, of course, show you how to run them. So with that, let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is our Commercial Trade Area Analysis Report, or often referred to as our Site Selection Report. So to run this one, it's pretty simple. You're going to come up here to Research, and you'll come down here to Commercial Site Selection, and you will plug in whatever geography you're looking to search for properties in, as well as the economic, demographic, tapestry segments that you want your client to be around. And the system will go ahead and identify either by census block group, zip code, neighborhood, etc., where you should look for properties. And so let's go ahead and plug in our information. And with those different attributes entered, now what we can do is just scroll down to Run Analysis and click on that button. What that's going to do is the system will now identify what geographies, and you can see this is set to zip codes. So in this case, which zip codes have those attributes within them. And so that's really important if we want to, show our clients during our presentation of, here's the building we landed on, but here's why we started looking in those areas to begin with. And so if you want to have this available for, your presentation package, just click on Get Trade Area Analysis Report. You can see it's going to default to that. There isn't a ton to this one. Map, summary of analytics and search results, and then the analysis grid. I would recommend just leaving all those checked. You can leave the About This Data unchecked or checked, however you want to go, and then just click on Run Report. And the next report that I want to show you is the Property Detail Report. So most of you have probably actually ran this one before, but I thought I'd show you a couple of tips and also kind of show you that 3B report that comes out of Valuate. So you can see how that can be attached to things like your property report. So with that, if you have your property address in mind, you can go ahead and type that in, hit the search button, and of course that's going to take you to the property detail page. Now, two things you can do if you need to customize this information or add details that either the listing agent didn't include or even public facts didn't have. You can come here to the property facts table and you can clarify things like number of stories if you wanted to. You can add new details. So if you happen to know, let's just say what the cap rate is, for instance, and maybe it's 5% or something like that. We can type that in, hit save, and anything that we add to this column here is going to be available in RPR and then also on the reports as we print those out. The other thing we can do is add notes in this My Updates card as well. This is pretty easy as well. You just type in the notes that you want to add. They can be general, they can be specific. You also have the ability to upload photos here as well. So there's another way to kind of customize the reports and the information that you're providing your client. And the third thing that I wanted to point out is utilizing Valuate. So if we are in fact looking at this particular property from an investment standpoint, it makes a lot of sense for us to add a investment analysis kind of summary, maybe a cash flow type of report to that property detail page. So it's exactly what I'm going to do. So we can click here on Analyze Property, click on Continue. Now I've already done the work, I guess you could say, for this report. So I'm not going to run through how to do an investment analysis. There are plenty of videos that we've done previously on that if you're interested though. But if we want to get a nice printout, a PDF, what we're going to do is come here to File and then Export, and then we'll just use the PDF option here. And so I'll show you all what that looks like here later on when we go and attach that to the property detail report. So let's go back to our property detail page. So now we are, kind of ready to print out this information. Everything looks good. We can scroll back up to the top of the page here. You'll notice there are two options. This print is more of a print page, so it's going to basically print out exactly what is, on the page as you're looking at it. It doesn't have, the formatting and stuff that, the more formal reports out of RPR do, but it is a nice quick option for you. What I always recommend is just come here, create a report. You can see this is the property report. Again, there's different things you can, check and uncheck. The system does remember what you leave off, so I don't ever print out the school summary or school review information, so that's always pretty much unchecked. The key thing that I want to point out to y'all today, though, is there is this Manage Custom Pages option. So when you click on that, you'll notice that you can have up to 5 custom pages. They can be no larger than 10 megabits, and obviously they need to be, not password protected. But you can upload a multitude of these just by coming here, selecting, the report that you want to add. If you are, showing multiple reports, maybe you have your, own profile in here as well. You can move these around by grabbing the little sort thing. You can say, do you want it at the beginning or the end of the report? And then when you hit save, you'll also notice that it's going to pop up under this custom page section. So it's a great way just to, add more details, enrich the RPR reports kind of however you see fit. So from there, all we got to do is, again, come down here and run this report. The third and final report that I want to kind of highlight for y'all is the custom trade areas. And so for this one, we're actually going to go back to our property here at 1919 Green Street. And we're going to jump into the map section here. And what we're now going to do is create a custom trade area. And so I always prefer coming here to the driving option. And there's 2 of these that, are pretty common. The travel time is, Google's, 3, 5, 10-minute drive time geographies. And then this is the 135 mile radius tool. So if you prefer doing radiuses, you can do those. I've noticed a lot more folks are using the drive time these days. So we can drop that on our property, click on next, and you can see there's a lot of customization here. Maybe you were mostly concerned about 9 a.m. on a Monday. That 10-minute drive time will just be our primary factor there, and then it'll benchmark the 3-minute and the 5-minute to that. And so once we, let Google do its thing and draw out the new custom geography, what we will now do is just click on this option here, create a trade area report. And so from here, same process we've looked at. This one has a little bit more data, so there might be some things you don't want to include. If you do have a custom page, you want to be sure to uncheck, where you don't want it to print out on. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to have, that property investment analysis on the trade area report. Other things that I leave off is the traffic counts, and the only reason I left that one off is because it's also on the property report, so no need to, duplicate that effort either. So same thing we've done before, click on the Run Report option, and we'll let the system kind of do its thing. All right. So now what we have are 3 really good reports, and we can kind of walk through, if we picture ourselves with our client talking about why they should either lease out a space or invest in a space or become an owner-occupier of a space. I really think that this kind of progression will be of benefit to them. So we can start off with kind of where we started, which is the trade area analysis report. So again, we're looking in this large city geography, and we're using the tool's site selection capabilities in order to identify for us, kind of where the hotspots are based off of the attributes that our client wants to be around. So for this rental opportunity, they want to be around young adults who spend a certain amount on rented housing and are in densely populated areas. So this will give them a quick little snapshot of what zip codes are the best ones, and then kind of trailing down. And then also, for transparency's sake, we always try to show what the data is measuring, where it's coming from, how often we're getting it updated, and that kind of thing. So for the next step, we're looking at the property that is within one of those zip codes. So now we can kind of walk them through the property and all the information there. You can also see any refinements that you've made to this property will populate on the reports here. And it's just basically a nice little snapshot of everything that's in the property detail page. It's just in a much more streamlined manner than if you did, for instance, that little print page option that we showed to begin with. So it includes things like public information, assessed values, deed records. It's got owner information. It's got nice aerial or satellite map imagery, so you can not only see kind of how the parcels are lined out, but also where it sits, what intersections are nearby. Is there access to interstates or metro stops or those kind of different ports and that sort of thing. So nice little visualization there. And then of course we have any photos that are brought in by the listing agent. We also tend to have historical photos if you're working with an MLS listed property. Traffic counts, not as applicable in this situation, but maybe they want to look for a quieter area, that kind of thing. But you can see we have the 2021 figures in here as far as the projections, and we also have the latest historical counts as provided by our partners at Calibrate. Now continuing down, this is where we get into that investment analysis. It's a little bit hard to see. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you might be able to actually see these numbers a little bit better. But we have here just kind of a basic snapshot of the purchase, the disposition, unlevered returns, levered returns, partnership returns, and it really gives you a nice quick snapshot of the projected outcome based off of the assumption that you've plugged in. And then probably the more important aspect of the investment analysis is just this annual cash flow statement. So this is set up for a 7-year hold, and you can see here all of the various incomes, all of the different expenses and real estate taxes, so you can get down to your NOI. Then you have your operating cash flow, your revenues after debt servicing, then you get into your leverage cash flow and your levered internal rate of return as well. So now we know why and where to be based off of who our client wanted to be around through that site selection tool. We found a property, we've projected the investment analysis, and assumingly it will hit whatever goals they have in that aspect. But the final thing that I really think can help push folks over the edge or really just get them excited about specific opportunities is trade area information. And so we know for a fact, based off of the attribute summary, that we're in an area that has at least 3, 4, 5 different characteristics that they need to be around. But this kind of paints the rest of the picture for your client. So this report really gets into Esri's tapestry segmentation to give you some context around what these folks do, how they live, what makes them unique, those kind of details. And those really come out, at least in my mind, in these commentaries for each specific segment. So those are really nice to give your client a little bit of an understanding about what these folks are doing, how they're living, how they might be able to be more appealing or fit into the community better. And then we also come down here and we get into your more typical economic and demographic data sets. So you can see here it's the 2020 actuals, and then we have the 2025 projections. Most of this is coming from the community survey via Esri, but we do show you exactly where the data is coming from. 3-minute, 5-minute, then our primary drive time is in bold in that 10-minute area. So you can really quickly see, does this match up to, the criteria needed. So all your population figures, population change, density, daytime information, lots of great resources there. We have age figures, so we have the median age across, the 3, the 5, and the 10, and then what's really nice is it breaks it down by segment, so you can see where the bulk of this is coming from. So lots of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, which back to the site selection tool, that is exactly what we were looking for, those younger early adults. So this is kind of backing up a lot of the information we're already providing. Marriage details, you would expect younger folks probably less married than are married, which that kind of holds true as well, which also lends to probably a higher rental market. Before you get married, it's less likely for you to own a home. We also have average household income levels, median household income levels per capita, disposable, unemployment information. This report in particular, it's built to be utilized, across all of the main commercial sectors. So you might not need to include everything, and I showed you, how you can remove stuff if you need to. But it is a very robust report that really does give you some good understanding as to what's going on in the trade area that surrounds whatever building you're looking at. And so with that, I think I've highlighted the 3 core reports. Hopefully I've put them together in a manner that kind of makes a little bit of sense to you. Now, this was keyed off of somebody that's probably looking for space. If you're trying to market your property, I would just say that some of the important reports for that would obviously be this trade area report. And even if you're not, including this entire report on your listing package, there's definitely some data sets that you can run this report from, pull it out, and include, just as fields or descriptions. Also, the investment analysis tool is pretty key as well. And even the site selection, if you're trying to highlight the highest and best use of a space, you can really find some key attributes that aren't included, within this this trader report, and pull that information out of there. So lots of different ways to use this information. I know this was kind of a high-level overview, but hopefully there are a couple things here that either maybe you weren't aware was able to be generated in a report, or ways to customize the reports, or even just the evaluate export feature. Hopefully something here has grabbed your attention and is adding a little bit more value to RPR for you. So with that, always appreciate you giving me some time. Look forward to the next one, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your days. Take care.